Detroit, Michigan. On 2004-07-10, 17-year-old Alicia Cole, a high school student, left a small birthday gathering at a classmate's duplex in the Gratiot Connor area around 23:20 after telling her father she would be home by Thawamajau. At 03:02, patrol officers responded to Nash Park, where Alicia was found unconscious near a pavilion. EMS documented wrist and shoulder bruising consistent with restraint and a high blood alcohol level on a portable analyzer. She was transported to St. John Hospital and admitted to the emergency department. Her father, Demetrius Cole, 41, former Marine Scout sniper and warehouse security guard, arrived at 03:45. In a brief lucid interval recorded in triage notes, Alicia whispered 4 first names: Danny, Rick, Tony, Kyle, and nodded when asked if they were police. She lost consciousness again. Initial blood work showed elevated BAC and alprazolam. Demetrius filed a report at the 9th Precinct and identified the 4 as young officers he had seen around the neighborhood. Officer Daniel Danny Crawford, age 22. Officer Richard Rick Summers, 23. Officer Anthony Tony Bradshaw, 24. And Officer Kyle Morgan, 21. Internal investigators interviewed the 4 on 2004-07-13. Each denied contact with Alicia. Duty logs showed them off shift during the relevant hours. No personal devices were seized, and the kit stayed in the hospital lab pending written authorization to test. Captain Leonard Parker signed a closure memorandum citing insufficient corroboration. Demetrius protested in the lobby. A use of force report shows he was restrained, booked for disorderly conduct, and held for 72 hours. He was released. While he was in custody, Alicia's condition deteriorated. She died at 06:18 on 2004-07-19. The medical examiner listed acute ethanol and benzodiazepine toxicity as the cause of death, manner undetermined. The assault kit remained unprocessed. On July 23, during the funeral at a small chapel in northeast Detroit, Patrol Officer Kyle Morgan approached the casket and, according to 2 relatives, told Demetrius quietly, "Shame she couldn't handle it. The weak don't survive." The exchange appears in no official document. On August 23, Demetrius failed to report for his evening shift, vacated his rented apartment in a 3-story building on Promenade Street, and disappeared. His car remained parked behind the building. No missing person report was filed by family. Relatives later said he had told them he needed time away. 8 years passed. On 2012-08-04 at 06:20, Detective Marcus Green, 36, Major Crimes, responded to a disused freight warehouse on Dubois Street. The victim was Officer Daniel Crawford, now 30. He had been shot once in the chest inside a small office partitioned with plywood. A handwritten card lay next to the body. First, for Alicia Cole, 2004. There was no exit wound and no projectile recovered, consistent with retrieval by the shooter. Scene technicians reported no shell casings and minimal trace, indicating deliberate evidence suppression. On August 6 at 1915, Richard Summers, 31, was found dead in the garage of his single-family home in Grosse Pointe Park. A card on the floor read, "Second." The in-home security console logs showed the alarm had been disabled with the correct master code. There were no signs of forced entry. Medical estimates placed time of death several hours after the alarm was disarmed, indicating the offender waited inside. Detective Green initiated a linkage review. He pulled the 2004 assault file in Alicia Cole's name. The folder contained the closure memo signed by Captain Parker and an interview summary framing Alicia's utterance as non-specific. The kit chain of custody form showed awaiting authorization. No lab submission existed. Green briefed Captain Parker on 2012-08-07 and asked, "Why was it closed?" Parker answered, "Their families are influential. Drop it." Green proceeded without approval. He requested personnel files and attempted contact with the remaining 2 officers named in Alicia's triage note, Anthony Bradshaw and Kyle Morgan. A records clerk reported that Bradshaw was deceased. Green retrieved the prior case. On 2007-03-11, Bradshaw, 27, was killed during an alleged street robbery outside a Greektown casino. The autopsy documented 3 tightly grouped thoracic wounds with atypical marginal abrasion, The evidence log contained no recovered bullets. Comparison of wound characteristics between Bradshaw, 2007, and Crawford, 2012, suggested a common offender who both fired with precision and removed projectiles. Only Kyle Morgan, now 29, remained alive from the four names. His file showed promotion to sergeant and assignment to a neighborhood unit. At 21:30, Green drove to Morgan's listed address in Jefferson Chalmers. The residence, a single-family rental, was empty. Neighbors reported that Morgan left abruptly 3 days earlier carrying luggage. In the mailbox, Green found an unstamped envelope addressed Detective. It contained a photocopy of Alicia's funeral program and a note, "Soon." At 22:10 on 2012-0807, Green returned to his unmarked vehicle. A paper square under the wiper read, "Detective Green, you have a daughter, Kenya, 12, attends Martin Luther King Jr. Senior High School. Don't look for me for the next 72 hours, then I disappear. A veteran's promise." The message established knowledge of the detective's family and set a countdown. Green notified his lieutenant, requested a protective patrol for his residence, and drove to the school. At 22:45, he located Kenya in the after-hours recreation yard, where a summer tutoring session had just released. She was unharmed. Pinned to her backpack was a second note. "I don't hurt children, unlike them. 70 hours, detective." The offender defined a boundary, no harm to children, and reiterated motive linked to Alicia. Green photographed the notes, placed them in evidence envelopes, and logged an incident report. On 8th August at 07:30 in Detroit, Detective Marcus Green arranged for his spouse and 12-year-old daughter to relocate to his mother-in-law's apartment in Indianapolis, Indiana. He logged the transfer of his off-duty sidearm to a home safe, notified his lieutenant of the temporary family move, and requested patrol drive-bys at his residence. At 08:10, he opened a records task list focused on Demetrius Cole, military service, contractor employment, tax filings, aliases, and medical history. He also queued requests to re-interview supervisors who handled Cole's 2004 complaints. By 13:40, a Marine records packet arrived through the regional liaison. It confirmed Demetrius Cole, born 14th May 1963, served as a scout sniper from 1983 to 1991. Evaluations described a disciplined shooter with high tolerance for stress. A 1991 separation note by a staff psychologist read, "Subject held together only by responsibility to his daughter. Without her, he's dangerous." A private sector extract showed Cole employed in 2005-2006 by a defense subcontractor as a protective marksman. Travel vouchers indicated overseas work. After mid-2006, employment entries ceased. At 1915, the apartment manager granted entry under a warrant. The unit was vacant, utilities active. On the main wall, push-pinned photographs mapped commutes of Daniel Crawford, Richard Summers, and Kyle Morgan. Notes summarized gym schedules, license plates, and the presence or absence of spouses or partners. A cork strip listed dates and times near gun ranges within 90 minutes of Detroit. On the table, medical documents from Mercy St. Vincent Hospital dated 12th of January confirmed pancreatic adenocarcinoma, stage 4, with a 3-month prognosis. Pharmacy receipts in February showed pain management medications. A calendar with March, April, and May crossed off suggested self-monitoring of expected decline. Under a paperweight, Green found a printed headshot of himself from an official site. Beneath, in block letters, "Honest. Will understand." At 1952, Green's phone received a masked call. The male voice was altered. "Detective, check Crawford's phone, hidden folder, password 2004. At 21:05, Green signed out the Crawford homicide evidence box. A warrant addendum authorized a targeted search for hidden content. A forensic technician located an application, constructing a concealed folder labeled Logs. 3 video files were inside. Each showed a back room in a precinct building. A 17-year-old female identified as Alicia Cole was restrained and crying, "Please stop." 4 uniformed officers were present. A 5th person's voice, off-camera, matched Kyle Morgan's cadence. In the 3rd file, he turned the lens on himself for seconds and said, "Shut up, baby. This is our secret." Green halted playback and documented the existence of 3 separate assaults on consecutive nights. He sealed the device and created a duplicate for referral to a prosecutor outside Wayne County. On 9th August at 08 hours, Green requested Kyle Morgan's financial activity. Banking logs showed a cash withdrawal on the 7th August at 14:11 from an ATM on Jefferson Avenue, Detroit. No transactions after that. License plate readers were not queried to avoid internal disclosure. A property search revealed a cabin held in Margaret Morgan's name since 1998 near Mio, Michigan. At 10:20, Green departed alone without notifying Captain Parker, citing a leak risk noted in his case journal. At 14:05, he reached the Oscoda County property. The cabin was unoccupied. On the kitchen table lay a single sheet. Marcus Green. I approached Kenya at school within arm's reach. Could have taken her. Didn't. If what happened to Alicia happened to her, you'd become me. Morgan is last. He organized everything, filmed 3 nights, closed the case through his father. I'm dying. Doctors give me days. Let me close the debt. 22 hours left. A postscript in unsteady print read, P.S. If you're reading this, I already have Morgan. Green photographed the letter, bagged it, and logged the find time as 14:11. He compared the stated 22 hours to the first warning delivered on 7th August around 22:10, and concluded the offender intended to act before about 10th August at 12 YTRU. He transmitted a limited location update to dispatch without content details, and recorded that a forced entry might precipitate harm to a captive if present. At 15:10, Green received a call from Detective Alicia Pruitt. Body found. Officer Jason Flynn, 23, shot. Note 3rd. Time of discovery, 14:42. Alley off East Grand Boulevard. Green asked, Flynn wasn't in Alicia's triage list. Connection? Pruitt replied, he was 15 in 2004. Father was a patrol officer. Pulling old intake now. By 17:55, Green returned to Detroit homicide and reviewed Flynn's background. Jason Keir Flynn, 23, probationary traffic officer, married, spouse 5 months pregnant, rented a unit in a 2-story building off Werner Highway. Archive staff located a 2004 juvenile intake card. On 11th July at 01:30, a 15-year-old Jason reported seeing older officers carry a teenage girl from a precinct interview room to the rear lot. On 13th July, an addendum signed by his father recanted the statement as mistaken identity. No follow-up interview was documented. Pruitt's scene notes from 9th August indicated a single thoracic gunshot without casing and a card marked 3rd, matching the prior pattern. At 1940, Green compiled an operations memo. Locate Kyle Morgan, alive before the 22-hour limit. Request external prosecutorial custody for the Crawford device and the 3 videos. Detroit, Michigan. On 9th August at 18:05, Detective Marcus Green reached the alley off East Grand Boulevard, where Officer Jason Keir Flynn, 23, probationary traffic officer, lay under a tarp near a dumpster. The medical examiner's deputy estimated time of death around 14:30. Flynn's spouse, Lila Flynn, 22, store cashier, 5 months pregnant, waited in a patrol car and identified his wallet and watch. No robbery indicators. Cash present, phone in pocket, wedding band on hand. At 19:10, Green obtained Flynn's phone under a rapid warrant. Device review showed a locked thread saved without a name. Messages began 2nd May and continued until 1st August. The sender provided duty rosters, vehicle plates, gym times, and off-duty locations tied to Sergeant Kyle Morgan. Directives appeared throughout. Avoid email. Print nothing. Meet no one inside the department. The final text read, "You have enough. Go to the state prosecutor's office." Lila stated Jason had been gathering proof that Morgan orchestrated assaults years earlier. He did not share sources, said only that, "Someone wants it fixed outside Wayne County." At 20:05, Green contacted the Michigan Attorney General's Detroit field office. Logs confirmed that on 26th July at 15:40, Jason Flynn appeared with counsel and submitted a sworn statement about events he witnessed as a 15-year-old in July 2004. Intake notes recorded that he referenced 3 consecutive nights and named Daniel Crawford, Richard Summers, Anthony Bradshaw, and Kyle Morgan. The field office opened an intake and, the same day, issued a courtesy notification to the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office for conflict screening. Green added both entries to chain of custody and timeline sheets. Green requested juvenile archives under Jason Flynn's name. At 20:55, records produced a sealed envelope dated 11 July 2004. Inside, Jason's handwritten statement described seeing 4 uniformed officers carry a teenage girl from a precinct interview room toward the rear lot while one said, "Get her to the car, my turn now." On 13 July 2004, an addendum signed by Officer Michael Flynn, Jason's father, withdrew the report as misidentification. The envelope had been misfiled under a nonviolent incident number. There was no routing slip to internal affairs. The content indicated Jason recognized that a sexual assault was underway in real time. Green scanned and resealed the originals and logged the misfile. At 21, Green entered Captain Leonard Parker's office with a recorder on the desk. "You knew Flynn went to the Attorney General," Green said. Parker replied, "I knew. I called Morgan to warn him. Did that kill Flynn?" "Probably." Green, "You compromised a witness." Parker, flat tone. "Morgan is the son of Carl Morgan, the city prosecutor. Carl closed Alicia Cole's case and 7 more before it. Kyle has been assaulting girls since 16. The father covered it." Parker unlocked a floor safe and produced a gray folder. 8 girls over 7 years. All closures signed by Carl Morgan. Green paged through the folder. Summaries ranged from 1999 to 2004. Each file involved a teenage victim, custodial or near-custodial contact, talk screens listing ethanol plus benzodiazepines, and a declination memo signed by Prosecutor Carl Morgan citing insufficient corroboration or witness credibility. Names and neighborhoods varied. Photographs documented wrist and thigh grip bruising. Intake times clustered around late nights. Chain of custody sheets showed minimal evidence testing. The final tab carried a photograph labeled Tisha Green, 15, 1999. The case summary listed overdose as official cause of death. Parker spoke quietly. "Your sister. You were deployed. They recorded it as overdose. There was more." Green asked, Her too?" Parker nodded. Morgan Jr. was 11. He learned by watching his father and a circle of officers use detained girls in back rooms. Later, he started. "I kept these because I thought leverage would come. It didn't. I warned him instead. I was wrong." Green said, "You'll give a full statement." Parker, "Yes." At 21:47, Green's phone displayed a prepaid number previously linked to Demetrius Cole. The voice was hoarse and slow. "Detective. Flynn was a mistake. I didn't know he was trying to make it right. I'll burn for that, but I found the truth. Morgan's father, the prosecutor, covered it all this time. The real head. I took Morgan Jr. yesterday, recorded his confession. The father is in a mansion with security. I can't reach him. I'm dying." Green replied, "I just learned they killed my sister in 1999. A pause followed. Cole said, "God. Marcus, we both lost. Listen. I sent Prosecutor Carl a video of his son confessing everything. Wrote, 'Come alone or video goes to feds.' He'll come. Old Cole House, 2216 Maple Street. 1 hour. You have the same choice I had 8 years ago." Green saved the audio, noted 2149 as timestamp, and entered the address into the case log. A vacant family property on Detroit's east side listed to Demetrius's late mother. He documented intended actions. Recover Kyle Morgan alive if present, secure any recording devices and storage media, and initiate an external charging referral for Carl Morgan based on the Crawford device videos, Flynn's sworn statement, juvenile archive recovery, and Parker's folder. He added a risk entry. Prior internal leaks preceded Flynn's death. Full notification could endanger a captive or destroy evidence. Detroit, Michigan. On 9 August at 22:21, Detective Marcus Green entered 2216 Maple Street through an unsecured front door, firearm drawn, recorder active. The ground floor showed limited furnishings. On a coffee table lay a USB flash drive and a handwritten line. "Alicia's room, behind the photo." At 22:23, he located a framed photo in the second-floor bedroom. Behind the backing, he recovered a second flash drive. He connected it to his department phone using an evidence adapter and viewed directory listings, dated folders, message logs, and 8 subfolders titled with victim names and years. He opened Tisha Green 1999, previewed seconds of a custodial room clip, then stopped playback and sealed both drives in separate evidence pouches. At 22:26, a male voice from below said, "Detective, come down." In the basement, Green found Demetrius Cole seated on a low chair, visibly cachectic, scleral icterus present, hands trembling. Kyle Morgan, 29, was bound to a second chair with plastic straps. A camera on a tripod faced Morgan. A small recorder sat beside it. Cole said, "He confessed. All of it." Cole pressed play. The recording showed Kyle Morgan stating that he arranged Alicia Cole's assaults on 8 July, 9 July, and 10 July 2004, operated the camera on the third night, and relied on his father, prosecutor Carl Morgan, to suppress complaints. Morgan added, "Alicia found my father's documents, wanted to go to the police. We took her to make her shut up. She wouldn't break. My father said, 'Let her report it dead.' We planted the pills. I wrote the note in her handwriting. It wasn't suicide. We killed her." Cole stopped the recording and said, "Not suicide. Murder. I thought she left me. She didn't." Morgan looked at Green and said, "Green, arrest him." Green answered, "Your family killed my sister Tisha Green, 1999. Morgan replied, "I was a kid. I only watched." Green said, "You watched a 15-year-old raped. Then you started." Cole slid a holstered handgun along a crate toward Green. "Detective, here's the choice. Arrest me. He cuts a deal. His father walks. You don't have direct evidence on the father's hands. Or 2 bullets, father and son." Green said, "The father isn't here." Cole answered, "Not yet. I sent him the video an hour ago. He'll come in about 12 minutes. Cole coughed and dropped to his knees, bracing himself on the floor. At 22:33, an engine stopped outside. Through a narrow basement window, Green saw a dark sedan with government plates. Footsteps crossed the floor above. The basement door opened. Carl Morgan, 55, city prosecutor, descended with a handgun at low ready. He saw Kyle in the chair, Cole on the floor, and Green near the crate. He raised the weapon and said, "Step away from my son." Green did not move. 8 girls in 7 years. You covered it, Green said. Carl answered, "I don't know what you're talking about." Green said, "Tisha Green, 1999. You were there." Carl said, "No proof." Green said, "Flash drive in my pocket contains confessions and files." Carl replied, "Then arrest me. You're a cop." At 22:34, Green raised his sidearm. He did not aim at Carl. He aimed at Kyle's torso. Carl shouted, "What are you doing?" Kyle yelled, "Dad, shoot him!" Carl began to re-aim toward Green. Green fired 1 round into Carl's right knee. Carl fell, dropping his weapon. Green stepped forward, kicked the firearm aside, and handcuffed Carl's left wrist to a water pipe. "That is for my sister," Green said. Cole exhaled hard and said, "Won't work. The system protects him." Cole's hand moved toward the crate where the second handgun lay. Green saw the movement. He could have intervened. He did not. At 22:35, a shot sounded. Carl screamed. A second shot followed. Then silence from Kyle's chair. Green turned his head away and maintained his position at the base of the stairs. Cole said, "Alicia, Tisha, all the girls, debt paid." A third shot sounded. Green turned back. Carl Morgan lay bleeding from a chest wound and was unresponsive. Kyle Morgan displayed a head wound, unresponsive. Cole sat against the wall, gun in hand, muzzle under his jawline. He looked at Green and said, "Thank you for turning away." A final shot followed. Cole collapsed. At 22:36, Green cleared the room, recovered Carl's dropped handgun, and secured it in an evidence bag. He verified no additional persons were present. He ascended to the porch and called 911 at 22:38. Detective Green, badge 4127. 3 bodies at 2216 Maple. Prosecutor Carl Morgan, Sergeant Kyle Morgan, Demetrius Cole. Suspect shot the Morgans, then himself. I arrived 2 minutes after the shots. I could not prevent it. He placed his sidearm on the porch railing, engaged the safety, and waited. At 22:58, the first backup unit arrived, followed by the homicide team at 23:06. Captain Leonard Parker entered the basement, remained for 12 minutes, then returned upstairs. He approached Green. "You said you were 2 minutes late," Parker stated. "Yes," Green said. Parker replied, "Forensics estimates the last shot about 10 minutes before your call." Green did not respond. Parker said in a lower voice, "You were inside. You saw." Green met his eyes. "I was 2 minutes late. That is my official report." Parker nodded once. "Understood. We found a flash drive and recording devices. Federal agents have been notified. The 8 cases will reopen." On 17 August, Parker submitted a sworn statement acknowledging that he had alerted Kyle Morgan on 26 July after learning of Jason Flynn's approach to the state office. He admitted retaining the victim folder for years and failing to initiate charges.